We got another drop of huge Hytale news, this time their first FAQ right here, which is also actually telling us quite a few things. Number one, that it's the first FAQ, so likely they will be doing more of those, which is obviously absolutely fantastic. This time, this is by the Executive Director of Hytale, and there's a couple of questions that are answered that basically the team has been seeing online. Let's start with the first one over here. Where will Hytale be on Steam? And the answer is no, not initially. This is also what they have alluded to in the hardware requirements blog post over here, that during early access, it's probably not going to be a thing. But specifically also, you can see that they don't want the negative reviews because, well, the general public, people who aren't into Hytale right now, as most of us are, they're probably not going to know the whole story about Hytale, how it's came to be, all of the hurdles it had gone through. So it does make sense to only have well-informed people, or, you know, people who are more into the community over here. And while Steam is a great marketing tool, they say this right now, they don't need it. However, this doesn't mean that they will never be on Steam, which I actually think is really freaking cool. A couple of people have asked about the Steam Deck, and theoretically it should run on this. However, of course, right now with no Steam support, there's no sort of official support on that. Next up, console version of Hytale. Right now in early access, it will be PC only with Mac and Linux coming soon, or I guess to be announced over here. Fair enough. However, they are planning a console release at a later stage. I think this is absolutely amazing. Now, this, of course, comes with some technical challenges. I could give sort of an idea of that I have in mind for this. This obviously was one of the reasons why they switched to the C++ engine after Riot acquired them, to more easily get a multi-platform version of Hytale running. Because when you make a game in C++, high-level overview, if you make a game in C++, then making a console version and a mobile version is much easier than if you do it in Java. While yes, Java is supposed to quote-unquote run on everything that Java runs on, right? Fair enough. You're not going to be able to just simply port it to, let's say, an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Switch. You're going to need to use all of their systems, and yeah, that's going to be much harder. It's very fair. We would like to focus on making a good game first. I think that I absolutely support this. Awesome. Next up over here, we got the mobile version over here. There's no mobile version of Hytale in early access. Still evaluating whether or not this is feasible. I think this is totally fair. All right. What is in each game edition? We've seen this multiple times, so let's take a look. The content of each edition will be revealed soon. So right now, there's nothing there just yet. However, it does seem like they will be releasing details on that very, very soon, so that's exciting. When that comes out, I will, of course, also make a video, so leave a subscription over here to not miss that either. Can I upgrade my edition later? Yes. If you didn't already purchase the Cursebreaker edition, you'll be able to upgrade your game edition later stage. I think this is really cool. And I love this, okay? The fact that they still give you that option is awesome. The content and editions over here will only last for early access. I think that that's okay. So we will keep cosmetics. However, after the fact the editions are no longer available, that makes sense. Those are basically going to be, you know, early access editions that only exist in early access. I think that that's fair. However, given the fact that early access is going to be quite long, like this is going to be a prolonged period, I think you'll have plenty of time to think about when or if to get those. Can I gift this? There's no gifting feature. I think that that's fair. However, they are looking to get that finished. I love that as well. Then is there any pre-purchase bonuses? There are not, right? So they don't want to do any sort of FOMO out here. So no, if you just buy it, if you want to buy it, then that's totally okay. Will Hytale support regional pricing? Currently, they are working with it. However, they don't know if they can get this done, right? So the standard version will be $20 across the globe, likely. However, this hopefully will still make it feasible for many, many different areas in the world to still get it without regional pricing. Obviously, regional pricing, it would be huge for a lot of areas. I know that Brazil, for example, their currency is not quite up to par, let's say. So sometimes $20 even can be quite a bit. But, you know, here's hoping that maybe they can even get it around. And if not by the time, at least by the time it launches, that would be genuinely awesome. Will there be pets and animals? These features are not ready, but they are planned. Oh, let's go. Is there a fishing system on release? Unfortunately, not yet. We're working on an interesting design for it. So this is very interesting as well. However, I do know one person from Minecraft modding over here that would like to have their own fishing system in Hytale. So who knows, right? Maybe that's going to happen before. Maybe that's going to be a Hytale mod about fishing, and then that's going to be implemented in the game. From what I've heard is that Simon has said that if there's interesting mods that they really like, they might actually just purchase the mods and then implement them in the game, which I think is super freaking cool and just so close to the community. I love it. Well, Hytale have proximity chat, so they want to work on a system, but it won't be ready for early access. I think that that's totally fine. I mean, at the end of the day, there are so many different things. You got to remember, there are so many different things that they have to clean up over here, right? The tech side itself, that there's no crashes, no bugs, and things like that. I think that that's totally fair. Will there be cosmetics you can purchase to support Hytale's development? At this time, you can get special avatar cosmetics through early access editions. So that's basically what the different editions will get you, and then they might provide some later down the line. They do not want to add any pay-to-win features. I think that that's totally okay and totally fine. That's super fair. And yeah, basically it's only going to be cosmetics over here. And then most likely, if I read this correctly, this is a speculation over here, official cosmetics will stay fair and balanced. So when we talk about official cosmetics, does that mean that perhaps at some point they will also have the possibility of having community-made cosmetics? I guess that's literally what they say right here, right? So that being said, modders can create visual mods such as furniture, pets, hats, and avatar cosmetics. As these aren't official content, any player who wants to see those needs to have the mod installed. That of course makes sense. We would like to prevent mods from overriding our official cosmetics. I think that that's also fair. And then third-party servers are allowed to override the cosmetics to match their theming. Alrighty. And they can even sell their own cosmetics on their server to cover their costs. Okay, so there you go. That's absolutely freaking fantastic. Will the game be available in my local language? Initially, Hytale will only be available in English. I think that that's super fair. However, they will have Crowden right here. Oh, this would be awesome, because Crowden basically allows you to, well, set up a system in which you can use the community to translate into different languages. So this would be freaking phenomenal. Okay, I think that if they are going to launch a Crowden, I mean, I think that people are gonna flock there and help with that immediately. That's gonna be awesome. Will Hypixel take a cut from third-party servers? So for the first 2 years, there's going to be 0% taken right here from any third-party servers or modder that wants to monetize their work. I think that that's fair, and then we'll see. There won't be any costs, obviously, depending on how this all works. Platform fees, payment provider fees, things like that is obviously very fair. We'll obviously need to see the details on how this is exactly implemented. And then after 2 years, what is going to happen? So they basically say that their percentage will never exceed 20%. So absolutely phenomenal, but they say that they probably will never even reach 20%. I think that that is super fair. I think they need to have some amount of money generated through the user-generated content as well. At the end of the day, 20%, let's call it 10, right? Like if they say, well, we'll never reach 20%, let's say they go for 10. Even that is basically, in terms of user-generated content kept by the person, by the modder or the person that does the user-generated content, 10% is basically unheard of in anything, right? We can think about it like this. YouTube takes 45% of a video's ad revenue. And I think that that's kind of a fair assessment over here. Steam takes a 30% cut of your game's revenue. So you can see how there are definitely way higher percentages, and given the opportunity over here to have this, I think this is totally fair, right? I mean, if this is like going to be 10%, maybe even lower, I think this is super fair. Even 20% is still quite low, given the vast majority of the basically like sort of user-generated content landscape. If we include video on that, then 20% is totally fine, even at that point. Then here we get to the next thing. Can I support my favorite content creator? If they participate in the creator program, you can use their code at checkout. While this won't give you any benefits directly, the person is going to be grateful, and also we will get a little bit of a thing. So the creator program over here, obviously anyone who makes Hytale content, be it videos, mods, art, streams, anything can sign up. And then what we'll do is basically the creator program right here. This is quite important for myself personally, and maybe for some of you as well, if you're interested in making videos, music, art, streams, mods, whatever you might want to do in Hytale. Basically, the creator of which code you use will get 5% of the sale. I think this is totally fine. This is until they recoup the costs of the game's development. Once again, totally fair. And then we'll raise it to 7%. This is also unbelievably amazing, right? The percentage is going to be the same for all creators. I think that's fair. No one gets special treatment. Absolutely correct. There's no plan to increase the rate. I think, listen, 7% is absolutely amazing. This is the absolutely awesome thing. Not only are they transparent with where they want to go, what they want to do, but also it just creates an ecosystem where, listen, hey, you know what? I want to support this creator to no additional cost of your own. You can simply have them receive a little bit of that money that you give for the game. I think that this is absolutely phenomenal. Modders can also participate in the program, which is a much better environment for free mods. I agree, right? I mean, I think that obviously free mods are great, but coming from the Minecraft modding community and knowing how that works, the real issue there is that there's so many passionate people and so many people who are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into making their mods, let's say on Java Edition, and it just... It sometimes is grueling work with some of their updates on Minecraft, and the issue is that you know, having these free mods, it's great, but there's barely any monetization options for them, so that's one of the rough things. But yeah, having all sorts of different options right here, just seeing this, you know, even just the creator program, absolutely fantastic. And apparently this will also apply to cosmetic editions, so that means that if you ever buy cosmetics and you could use a code, then this will also go to the creator. I think this is awesome. Like, as a creator, I think this is really, really cool, and I'm super happy sort of participating in the Hytale content ecosystem right here. I mean, this is awesome. And that is it for the first FAQ. Obviously, highly likely there's more coming over here. This is awesome already, though. I'm super interested to see the continued development over here. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video right here. Hope to see you in the next one when we talk about more things Hytale. Until then, so yeah.